Dave Parody here, and this is another slide makeover video podcast based on the ideas in my book, The Visual Slide Revolution. The slide I'm using today is from a presentation that was posted on the public internet. Now, it's only being used as an example, and the ideas I'm going to share with you today are the ones I would tell the company if I was working with them and consulting with them. And when you hear me do the revised slides, it's as if I was showing an executive how they would present the new slide. So let's take a look at today's slide. Here it is, and this is so typical of what we see a lot of times. This is a survey, a study that's been done, and these are supposed to be the highlights. Now what that suggests is there's a lot more data that they didn't present. These are just the highlights, but it's just overwhelming. There's way too much text here. There's way too many figures. There's no way for an audience to figure out what it is they're supposed to take away from this slide. And my question really is, what are the true highlights? All I'm seeing is a ton of data, but I'm not seeing any true highlights. So let's take a look and let me show you some of the ones that I picked out that I thought were important. And I think this slide is probably being presented to advertisers to show them why the Oracle magazine, that's whose slide this is better than the Profit magazine. First one I found was this very top one here, which says that Oracle's magazine is rated higher than the other magazine they're comparing it to. That's important because the readers are telling us that they think this is a very good or a favorite magazine. The other two are down here, where it talks about how the readers save items of interest or save an entire issue, and then they refer back to that later on in the year when they're going to make discussions with others as to what should be bought or even make buying decisions. That's important, again, for an advertiser. The question becomes then, what for these 3 points, if I'm going to pull those three out, what visual should I be using for these? And when I take a look at that, obviously I see these numbers and I'm comparing numeric rankings. So when I see that comparing numeric information, the immediate clue that gives me is that I should be thinking about a graph, a simple graph showing our magazine Oracle versus Profit magazine. So let me show you what I turned these 3 points into, pulled those ones out of this one slide. I'm going to turn those into 3 individual slides and then a conclusion slide. Slide number 1 looks like this. Oracle magazine is rated higher by our readers. When we asked our readers, do you find this a very good magazine or one of your favorites? We scored more than 12 points higher than Profit magazine. So this particular slide, what I did was I used a very simple column graph, got rid of any axis, just put the numbers up on top there, and to fill the Oracle magazine column, what I did was I used an image of one of the magazine covers. That's something you can do to identify this particular column with your product, and the other one is just a bland gray. So it really highlights our column over the other one. The headline here, Oracle magazine rated higher by readers. That's exactly what we want the advertiser to understand. It's a highly rated magazine. Our second slide. You know, in our study, readers found that in Oracle magazine, they saw items that they wanted to keep. So they keep these magazines to refer to them later on. If you advertise, that means they're keeping your ad around. You can see it's almost 20 points higher in the study. So again, looking at this similar look, again, I'm trying to be consistent here with the visual so people see, yeah, that's similar points here. So in this case, we're talking about the percentage of people who save an item or an issue of interest. And what we want the advertiser to know is that, again, their ad's going to be kept. That's slide number 2. Slide number 3. You know, the back issues of Oracle magazine, people keep them, but they don't just gather dust. What our research, the study, pointed out is that they actually refer back to those issues to find information that they need at the time that they need it. So if your ad is there, they're going to pull it out maybe 4, 5, 8, 10 months later and be able to see that ad again and remind them of your particular product. Again, almost 20 points higher than Profit magazine. Again, similar column chart, and really driving the point home, because for an advertiser we got to translate what does that mean to them. So the headline, how I spoke, that's all going to contribute to making this a more powerful and persuasive visual. Once we've made our 3 individual points, then we go to a slide that summarizes what this means. You know, what this says is that Oracle Magazine is a trusted source of information for the readers. They tell us it's highly rated by themselves, they keep the issues around, and they refer to the back issues when they need information on that particular product or service. So what I've done in this slide is I've brought that image again of the magazine cover. So consistency, you see how that image is flowing through, and then added on top of it the 3 key points, building them one by one as I talk about them, and even the small visual, the little check mark in the box says people, yep, that's something important to you, something important, correct, correct, correct. So you can see how we took one overloaded, data-heavy slide, which was supposed to be highlights, and we broke it down, and each individual point got highlighted with a very powerful visual and then summed up at the end. And that's the type of thing you can do when you follow the ideas in my books and the training and consulting that I do. For information about those products or services, go to the visuals, the 2 sites that you see here, www.visualsliderevolution.com or www.ThinkOutsideTheSlide.com. I'm Dave Parody. That's another Slide Makeover video podcast.